Out, all set for the one remaining SPFL fixture for the weekend. It is, of course, Hearts against Motherwell. It's live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with Stephen Craigan and Rob McLean.
Thanks, Richard. St Johnstone making Sunday headlines already, but both these teams today with the opportunity to go above the Perth team in the table. In fact, both with the opportunity to go up 4 places in the Premiership. That tells you how tight it is if they can come out on top here with maximum points. And a chance too for the Premiership to see another few goals flying in. It's been a goal fest of a weekend when you think about it. 5 at Pittodrie Friday night, 5 at Rugby Park, 6 at Celtic Park yesterday, 5 in Dingwall, 3 earlier today in Perth. And even with my questionable arithmetic, that's 24 in 5 games, so I'm sure I've probably put the kibosh on this one in terms of adding to that tally. But every chance, you would imagine, of getting a few more goals in this meeting of Motherwell and Hearts. And in case you've just joined us, it is unchanged Motherwell, the same team as beat Dundee United at Tannadice last weekend, and Robbie Nielsen changes half his team and makes it all the stronger, you would say, on the back of Thursday night's closure of the Europa Conference League campaign. But it's all about focusing now in the next few games, next 3 games before the break for them, in trying to get as much as possible and get themselves up to where they would imagine they should be in the Premiership placings. And certainly a win today would get them to within a couple of points of Aberdeen in 3rd place, and they will hope that as time goes by the squad gets stronger and stronger. Underway we are at Tynecastle, Kevin Clancy the referee, and as we look from our position, Hearts playing from right to left. Craig Gordon angles a kick up towards Barry Mackay. It flies up in the air, he's not sure where it went. It was Paul McGinn who won the header, got a little bang for his trouble as well. Down goes Slattery, and it's a free kick from Motherwell, just a couple of yards inside the Hearts half. Sean Goss looking to take a quick one. Well, he did take it quickly, but he played it straight at Andy Halliday. Now Mackay making a move down the touchline, inside towards Snodgrass. Into the feet of Shanklin, who played it first time out wide for Mackay. It didn't hit its target, but you could sense exactly what he was trying to do there. And Lawrence Shanklin is looking to add to 11 goals he scored already this season. Both these teams with one goal scorer who is far and away the top marksman, Kevin Van Veen, of course, from Motherwell. Here goes Slattery with a ball inside Halliday, trying to tempt Connor Shields into making the run towards the byline. Cochrane covering across from left centre-back, out for a throw-in just underneath us to Motherwell, midway inside the Hearts half.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the game because there's lots of good footballers on the pitch. You know, I said ahead of the game that Motherwell want to try and play in the right manner. So do Hearts. And if they can make it click today, it should be a classic.
Shields in on the half volley, far too long for everyone. Well, I said the dangerous thing about goals early on. You've now said it could be a classic. Cue the 0-0 draw, but maybe not. As Slattery lines up a 30-yard shot, out came Cochrane on top of him to block it. Here come Motherwell again. It's a very positive start from them. Threaded through for McGinn, continuing his run forward from Slattery. In the end, Halliday's clearance is blocked and it goes back to Craig Gordon. But lots of positives about the way your old team have started here, Craigs.
Yeah, listen, Callum Slattery's a very good footballer. I watch him too often, though he's a little bit sloppy in possession. He's loose and he turns the ball over far too often, but he started really well today. He's made some good passes. He uses his body really well. And when you look at the likes of Robert Snodgrass, who's similar, you know, he's a bit older but similar, that's going to be a good battle.
Here he is again, Slattery wearing number 8 into the feet of Van Veen, surrounded by maroon shirts. Hearts win it back. Halliday to Mackay, left-hand side, turns in and away from McGinn. A little spin, back it goes again with Andy Halliday. And all the way back to the keeper and the skipper, Craig Gordon, who then lofts one out towards Michael Smith. Didn't look too comfortable underneath it as he tried to head flick it forward towards Ginelli. Hearts have it right in the middle of the pitch with Devlin. And back again to Craig Gordon, who drives it low and up to Snodgrass. Good distribution up to the former Scotland player, and he has it again. Snodgrass just keeping the ball moving. Now it's Mackay running at McGinn. It's Hart's first venture forward. He cuts inside Barry Mackay. You could sense exactly what he was going to try and do. He tried to wrap his right boot around it and curl it towards the top corner. Not enough action on it for it to come back, but it was a sprightly attack. First of the match from Hearts.
Really good play, I have to say. You know, that pass from Craig Gordon into midfield to Robert Snodgrass, just to lay off the awareness of roundabout. And Hearts had Barry Mackay exactly where they want him. 1v1 in a wide area, up against Paul McGinn. You know he wants to come in on his right foot. He tried to set it out towards that far post. Didn't get enough on it, as you said, but certainly encouraging signs.
Best part of 4 minutes played at Tynecastle, and certainly a lively start. Firstly, Motherwell looking to make something happen, and then that from Hearts on the attack. And he's such a talented presence for the home team, Robert Snodgrass. He's not maybe going to run away from anybody these days, but he has some talent, and he's involved here again. He works a 1-2 with Barry Mackay. Left side of the box for Snodgrass, having a look at what's on his left foot, just threads it to the byline. Fired across goal by Andy Halliday. It was just screaming out for the finishing touch. Shankland close, not close enough. Brilliant play again from Snodgrass, and a great ball in from Halliday.
Do you know what? It came in the back of two really dynamic runs. Robert Snodgrass initially went beyond the centre forward. Andy Halliday then went beyond Snodgrass. So excellent from Hearts, and Motherwell got away with one.
Entitled to think, Andy Halliday, there would be somebody on the end of that. It had invitation written all over it as it flashed across the face of goal. Cochrane with a lovely ball in behind, searching ball, looking for Michael Smith, who was heading for the byline, and all Motherwell could do was concede the corner kick. It was Sondre Solholm Johansson at full stretch to glance one behind. First corner kick of the match, right-hand side, Barry Mackay trotting across.
This is exactly what you expect when you come to Tynecastle. The home side to be aggressive, the fans to be behind him, full-backs playing high, being aggressive in midfield. Probably hasn't happened often enough, but certainly today they look as if they're in the mood.
So can they get something then from this early set piece in from Mackay from the corner kick to the edge of the area? Blair Spittle heads it away. Nobody in the vicinity for Hearts. Smith plays it left, and Andy Halliday fires it again back to Craig Gordon. It will all start there. Hammered this time down the middle, right-footed, headed away by Ricky Lamy. Bouncing dangerously in behind the Hearts defence. It's Craig Gordon who comes out and clears, and his launch downfield almost found its way to Ginelli. Motherwell have it with Slattery in the middle. Goss, clever pass to find McGinn in some room into the central area for Slattery again. Was there a push from Mackay? There was. He was trying to keep it subtle, but Kevin Clancy was close enough to see it pretty clearly. Down went Slattery, a couple of yards outside the penalty box, and Sean Goss will be licking his lips at the look of this one.
And I think once you're a defensive midfield player or a wide player tracking back and you're the wrong side of an attacker and you give any kind of touch in his back and he goes down, it's always going to be a free kick. But I was complimenting Hearts and their link-up play through midfield. Brilliant again from Motherwell. Paul McGinn, lovely little ball, took out the Hearts midfield for Callum Slattery, running in behind him. Already we're seeing in this game penetrating runs, trying to break the lines, and it's paying dividends for both sides.
So it's right of centre, it's well right of centre, and it's a couple of yards outside the penalty box. A cluster of players around it, but you would imagine this would have to have Sean Goss written all over it, his left foot. 4 in the wall for Hearts. Kevin Van Veen might have an interest too, of course. And what he probably says goes, you would think. It is Van Veen who tried to whip it right-footed round the side of the wall, just didn't come back far enough. It did ruffle the side net, but it was comfortably wide for Craig Gordon.
I don't think he's ever going to score there, Rob, because the wall is so wide beyond the post that it's going to take an abnormal movement of the ball to try and get round and get inside the post. You know, you were spot on. It was all set for a left footer to try and curl it away from Craig Gordon into his left-hand side. And we were in Florence and watched, was it Baraghi? Had the free kick into the top corner. So for anybody who watched that game, it was almost in a similar position. You think of his free kick, always going away from Craig Gordon. So for me, the wrong choice.
Maybe I talked Sean Goss out of taking it because it did seem a stick-on for him, and maybe on reflection it was, but I guess when Kevin Van Veen says he wants to take it, and he's got, what has he got, 10 goals already to his credit, he probably gets the nod, but he was going to have to do something special with it there to firstly get it around the wall, put it on target, and then beat Craig Gordon. And that's maybe a hat-trick that he wasn't going to pull off.
I think because it was always going to curl towards Craig Gordon, so he could gamble. You know, he could almost edge his way across the line.
Both clubs with identical records across the last 9 games. They've won only 2 of them, so it's really pretty disappointing for both. But of course, the very nature of the Premiership and that area below Celtic and Rangers means that all you need is a win or 2, and you're very much back up there again. And both these sides are viewing this game from that sort of perspective today. It's a free kick for Motherwell on the left-hand side, played towards Lamy, right side of the box, but the ball didn't get that far before the whistle went. It was Connor Shields with a clumsy challenge and a free kick given against him.
Yeah, it was a really high line from Hearts. You know, the free kick wasn't that deep in their half, and suddenly they were about 5 yards outside their 18-yard box. So, you know, I'd said ahead of the game that they haven't defended crosses really well, and they haven't defended set plays. So maybe their ploy is to try and play higher and give Craig Gordon more space to come and probably collect.
Craig Gordon's kick out, heading for Lawrence Shanklin, defended well by Ricky Lamy. And when the ball runs loose, he's there first again, fired into the middle of the pitch. Difficult for McKinstry to control it. But he has it now. Stuart McKinstry, the 20-year-old on loan from Leeds, rolled inside, and interception by George Grant, well positioned for Hearts. The ball was played back though towards Grant, and it was behind him, and it was an awkward one, but there was a late challenge on Cammy Devlin across on the right-hand side, and the free kick will go Hearts' way. It's 0-0 at Tynecastle. We've played 10 minutes earlier on. St Johnstone 2, Rangers 1. It is still 7 points between Celtic and Rangers at the top of the Premiership, and the pressure is undoubtedly building on Giovanni van Bronckhorst, with just a couple of games now for Rangers ahead of the World Cup break. And as for St Johnstone, because there are 2 sides to the coin, they move up to 5th, but that could change in the course of this game, or once this game is finished. Crossfield from Snodgrass, lovely ball again from Mackay. Rolled to the byline for Halliday. Can he squeeze in the cross? He does. It's a decent cutback as well. Solon Johansson was stretching to prod that away. He's looked dangerous, Andy Halliday, every time he's got into that position. And the man who's pulling the strings in the middle when Hearts go forward is Robert Snodgrass.
Yeah, it's great willingness from Andy Halliday, it really is. It's easy as a full-back when the ball goes forward and the game goes forward to stand and watch and admire. But he doesn't. He takes Connor Shields back the pitch. He doesn't want to go there. That's 2 or 3 times already he's got in behind.
Ball's with Michael Smith at right back for Hearts. It's a 4-3-3 for Motherwell, with Kevin Van Veen central in the attack and McKinstry on the left, Shields on the right. And then it's Sean Goss in the middle of the midfield, Slattery to his right and Spittle to his left. Long ball downfield, and it's cut into the middle for Robert Snodgrass, and he's missed a massive chance. It was Giannelli who was sprung in behind the Motherwell defence. He flicked it inside to Shanklin. He seemed certain to be scoring, and he's hanging off the crossbar in frustration on the back of that, because it should have been 1-0 Hearts.
Well, it's a long diagonal ball from Alex Cochrane that takes out Matt Penny. But when he heads the ball, when Giannelli puts the ball back into play, where is Solholm? Where is Ricky Lamy? That was a gilt-edged chance for Lawrence Shanklin. Should have scored.
Corner kick, Hearts, left-hand side, Snodgrass, lots of action on the ball, and almost another chance for Hearts. Giannelli close in on the end of the first header into the mix. Here's another opportunity, and it's Lawrence Shanklin beyond the back post who does hit the target. Always going to be difficult to score from there. Plucked out of the air by Liam Kelly. Really good little spell from Hearts.
Yeah, it is, and the players around the ball, but you know, whenever Alex Cochrane's got time as a left centre half on the ball, the Motherwell back line shouldn't be squeezing up and leaving space in behind. You've got to defend it properly, because you can't allow Giannelli or Shanklin or even Barry Mackay that space, because usually they punish you.
A lot of space for Robert Snodgrass at the moment to dictate, and he rolls one out wide for Barry Mackay. 10 yards from the goal line, almost on the touchline, left side, played away by McGinn. It came off Mackay, and it's gone out for a Motherwell throw-in close to the corner flag. You just get the feeling that Robbie Nielsen's team are starting to build up ahead of steam here. it's so important, well, it's so important for every team to make the most of these last few games before the break. Hearts will look upon it as a real opportunity. They're Ibrox on midweek on the back of Rangers' defeat in Perth today, and then they're at home here to Livingston next Saturday. So they will be looking at that as potentially getting them to third place, because they'll have no fear about Ibrox in midweek.
Yeah, well, that was the challenge from Robbie, wasn't it? To try and be as close to that third place as possible. And days like today, Rob, you've got to go and win. You know, they haven't been in good form. You said it, 2 wins out of 9 hasn't been good enough. Yes, they've had their troubles in Europe and they've had injury issues. However, this Hearts side, at times I still think have underperformed a little bit. However, the levels they've reached in the opening spell, the opening moments in this game, they certainly look in the mood today.
On the ball, Ginelli. Out wide with Michael Smith, right on the touchline, back onto his left foot, rolls it square. Shanklin with a first-time touch, gets it back, moves it on to Snodgrass. Now it's Mackay, 25 yards out, back into the feet of Snodgrass, angling a run out left-hand side, rolls it back for Andy Halliday, curling cross, out comes Liam Kelly to grab it, and it's another Hearts move that was very easy on the eye.
Yeah, it is, and listen, Robert Snodgrass has had a real impact in this game so far for Hearts. He takes the ball, he's got really good awareness. He doesn't get about the pitch as well as what he used to. However, you never lose your football brain or your vision or your passing ability. That's certainly what he's brought to the game this afternoon.
Kelly's kick out for Motherwell. It's still 0-0 with the best part of 15 minutes gone here. Hearts looking good, and you have to remind yourself that there's no Halkett, no Kingsley, no Beningame, no Haring, no Boyce, no Humphreys. That's half a dozen names that would very probably be in the starting 11. They wouldn't be far away if they weren't in it. And Hearts doing pretty well without them at the moment, and if they can get themselves in a good position in the league, they will only get stronger as the season goes on. Good play from Goss from Motherwell, under pressure, composed, but they've lost it now. It was Slattery under pressure. Hearts win it. Mackay's on the move, back goes McGinn, in goes Barry Mackay. Now it's Snodgrass against McGinn, scrapping for possession in the midfield. Then the follow-up challenge from George Grant. Paul McGinn is still down for Motherwell after that altercation with Robert Snodgrass, and it's goalless at Tynecastle with 16 minutes played on BBC Radio Scotland.
Yeah, it was a clash in midfield. I think Robert Snodgrass was expecting Paul McGinn to come in and foul him. Paul McGinn held off. Robert Snodgrass went to the ground, and I think Paul McGinn was trying to nick the ball. Snodgrass was on the ground. There must be a clash of knees or something, but you know, it looks as if he should be okay. But you know, when you look at the 6 midfield players in show, you look at Goss and Spittle and Slattery, all good footballers. You know, Motherwell aren't going to go back to front, throw it forward and miss them out, because they want to take possession of the ball. Cammy Devlin's tidy in possession. George Grant was excellent in Istanbul on Thursday night. I thought just winning and being aggressive, and Robert Snodgrass just adds that little bit of quality and composure. So you have 6 midfield players who know how to play the game, have different strengths and different weaknesses, and that's been the key battle so far. But Motherwell's front 3 haven't had an impact, really. When you look at Connor Shields and you look at Stuart McKinstry or Kevin Van Veen, they haven't had service, they haven't had really any quality. So Hearts probably to this point, Rob, have been slightly better.
The reason we're not talking about the action at the moment is there isn't any, because Paul McGinn is still being treated just underneath us. Earlier on, St Johnstone 2, Rangers 1 in Perth. And of course, the Premiership spread over 3 days and nights, with wins for Aberdeen and Livingston Friday night, Celtic and Ross County yesterday, and this is the final game of the Premiership programme. There's the midweek games to come, and then next weekend, and that's it for a month. And I think that's it for Paul McGinn here, who is hobbling across towards the touchline, and it's going to be Stephen O'Donnell, I think, who's going to replace him. Remember Stephen O'Donnell, Craigs?
Yeah, I think Jack Greenish remembers him as well, doesn't he? Because they gave him a tough time down at Wembley. But, you know, it's been a tough time for Stephen O'Donnell. He's had to be patient, he's had to wait, because Paul McGinn, I have to say, has been excellent since he came to Motherwell. But when you're an experienced player and an international player and you're not getting a chance to play for your club side, Rob, sometimes you've got to bite your tongue, you've got to put your head down, you've got to lick your wounds and make sure that when your opportunity comes along, you're ready to play and you're ready to take it. So Stephen O'Donnell certainly has to prove his worth this afternoon.
So a disconsolate Paul McGinn is trudging and hobbling to the touchline, far side. And the time he took to get there has certainly given Stephen O'Donnell a little bit of time to get himself stripped and ready for action. So real quality, international quality to replace McGinn at right back for Motherwell. But right at the moment they are with 10 men on the pitch as Craig Gordon clears left-footed down the pitch. Lamy there for Motherwell. His header goes straight to Cammy Devlin. Devlin to Grant. And alongside him is Michael Smith. On the touchline, Josh Ginnelly. If Josh Ginnelly can be consistent in his play for Hearts, he can be a real asset to them. Down the left side this time with Mackay, back to Halliday. Andy Halliday taken off injured in Dingwall last weekend, but only after scoring a flashing header off the underside of the crossbar and getting in a few crunching challenges when he could barely stand and barely walk at the time. Doesn't really know the meaning of giving up, Halliday. The ball into the feet of Shankland for the home team. Out wide with Grant. Snodgrass first time layoff to Michael Smith. It's back with Robert Snodgrass. Could have been an advantage played there, I think, but Kevin Clancy instead goes for the late challenge on the Hearts right back. Free kick given. It's about 35 yards out. Brian.
Yes, Stephen O'Donnell is coming on for the unfortunate Paul McGinn. I had a look at the challenge again, Rob, and it was McGinn's own challenge on Robert Snodgrass. It looks like he's just twisted his right knee and unable to continue, and on comes Stephen O'Donnell.
Cheers, Brian. Set piece chance for Hearts coming up. Snodgrass is over it, so is Mackay. And 5 clustered around the edge of the box in maroon. 0-0 at Tynecastle. Barry Mackay lofts it back post. Well, I say lofts it. The minute he struck it, it was way too long. Didn't even bounce on the pitch. It just cleared everything and everyone, and that's a complete waste.
It is, and you know, Robert Snodgrass was over it as well, and because it's down Hart's right-hand side, I always think an in-swinging one from a left foot is always edging towards the goalkeeper. It gives your players something to go and attack. There's pace on the ball, and sometimes all it needs is a little glance. So I was very surprised that Barry Mackay actually took it. You're right, it was a dreadful free kick and a big let-off from Motherwell.
20 minutes gone at Tynecastle. Hearts 0, Motherwell 0. It was 3-0, of course, for the Jambos when these two last got together. In possession, Solholm Johansson at the back with Ricky Lamy alongside him. Long ball down the left for Kevin Van Veen, reaching out a right boot but not getting a touch. And it bounces through to Craig Gordon. We haven't really seen too much of Motherwell as an attacking force in the last little spell. They had an encouraging early flurry, but it's been much more about Hearts than it has about Motherwell in the last 10 to 15 minutes. Crossfield from Grant, left by Halliday for Mackay. Jinking inside, rolls it for Snodgrass. Now it's through. Andy Halliday with a big chance, and he blazes it over the top. He'd time to take aim and have a look there. He'd plenty to aim at. It's taken a nick on its way over the top from Halliday. Big chance.
I'll tell you what, Robert Snodgrass once again, just this rate of pass. But again, Barry Mackay picks up the ball. The first thing Andy Halliday does, he's on his bike. He wants to get in behind. But Robert Snodgrass, just that rate of pass was absolutely delightful. Andy Halliday probably should have went low to Liam Kelly's left-hand side, but went high.
Now the corner kick, Robert Snodgrass out swinging off that left foot. Good header away by Solholm Johansson. And I think there was maybe an off. The ball had curled out before it came back in, I think, from Snodgrass. He certainly put plenty of bend on it, but it obviously had bent out of play from him. But he hasn't got too much wrong so far. Hearts number 77. And he seems to be playing further forward this time around as well, because the times I've seen him, he's played as a sitting midfielder. He's played pretty deep as a midfield holding too.
And you know, when you think of the quality he has, particularly that last pass, Rob, why would you want him back the pitch?
Exactly.
You want him playing in that number 10 role so you can get the ball into his feet, which means Barry Mackay can move, Ginnelly can go, Halliday can go beyond as well. So honestly, he's a delight to watch, and he's clever. He doesn't allow anyone to pick him up. He's trying to drag Solholm into that space so people can get him behind.
Oh, what a lovely touch from George Grant. Took it on the outside of the boot and just twisted away from his marker. Lovely bit of skill from him. And now it's Barry Mackay who threads it in from the left-hand side. It's Grant again who angles one into the box, headed away by Matt Penny. But it's back in Hearts' possession very quickly again, and they look to keep the pressure on here and try to find a breakthrough. And we're past the midway point in the first half, 0-0. Michael Smith, right-hand side, lovely ball in behind for Josh Ginnelly. What can he do from here? Well, he jinks back the way. George Grant took the shot on from an angle. It was blocked. As far as Devlin, fired into the box, and well, it found Andy Halliday in a blatantly offside position. He took a touch, hammered a shot in. It didn't beat Liam Kelly anyway. It was good. It was a good save by the goalkeeper, but it wouldn't have counted because Halliday was clearly offside.
I have to say, in the last 15 minutes, Hearts have just been too good for Motherwell. They've been really aggressive in midfield. Motherwell haven't been allowed to play through midfield with Goss and Slattery and Blair Spittle. They've been anonymous because Hearts have suffocated them. They've won the ball back, they've recycled it, they've got it forward quickly. And Josh Ginnelly, you touched on it, Rob, he plays in little spells.
Yeah.
If they can just get a little bit more consistency to his play, because he's got the pace and he's got the movement to get in behind Matt Penny.
Header from Stephen O'Donnell, maybe his first touch. Inside towards Slattery, he goes down, the ball goes out, he looks up pleadingly towards Kevin Clancy, but he wasn't going to get a free kick there. It's out for the throw-in instead. You mentioned Ginnelly there, Craigs, when a lovely ball in behind which picked him out. Surely he had to be just firing it in really quickly and really early when he had the opportunity. And what did he do? He turned back onto his left foot, and eventually Hearts did get a chance out of it, but well, it was the offside for Halliday. But it just bears out what we're saying about him, that sometimes the simple thing is the most effective thing.
Well, we were here against, actually you weren't here against RFS, you know, the first goal within 4 minutes.
Yeah.
He's down the right hand side, fizzes across the face of goal, and Shankland gets a tap in.
Yep.
So things like that should stick in your mind. As a wide player, your job is to supply, is to create.
Cochrane plays a long diagonal which Matt Penny heads away, down from Goss to Solholm Johansson on the deck with O'Donnell, and down the line for Connor Shields to Slattery. He lofts one in behind Cochrane, or tries to, but there's a blatant push in the back from I spoke about subtlety earlier on, that lacked it as well from Motherwell's number 9. He was in with a chance there at one against one with Cochrane. The ball was bouncing, it was awkward, and he just took the heat off by nudging Cochrane to the deck.
I think he was expecting Cochrane to go shoulder to shoulder, or maybe he wasn't expecting Cochrane to be in the same position, but certainly he was just a bit too quick. But that's what Motherwell have to do sometimes. If you're under pressure, you've got to turn it down the side. Kevin Van Veen's always one of those ones, Rob, that continually likes to come towards the ball. Sometimes you've got to do the hard yards in behind.
I knew I shouldn't have mentioned the 24 goals so far this weekend. None so far in this one. We might get one here, though. Van Veen to Spittle, back again, and he's put it wide from the edge of the area. Kevin Van Veen, we've seen him score so many times from that situation. And there was nobody near him from a Hearts viewpoint. He was able to pick his spot. He side-footed it, and it's gone wide.
Yeah, do you know what? It was excellent play initially into him. He came in and he just spun it around the corner first time with his right foot. He then turned over his left shoulder. I think it was Blair Spittle that gave him the back.
Yeah.
And when he lined it up, you think, go on then. But you're right. The minute it left his foot, it looked like it was always drifting wide. But better for Motherwell.
Oh, a nice little touch out on the right-hand side from Shankland to release Snodgrass. He looked to switch it across towards Barry Mackay, who was in acres of space. It was on the right peg, though, of Snodgrass. Had it been on his left, I would imagine that would have been landing at Barry Mackay's feet. But he looks really in the mood here, Snodgrass, who wasn't able to play in the European games for Hearts. He's been brought back in continually on the back of those for the domestic matches. And he's looking to make an impression today, and he is making an impression with 26.5 minutes gone. Hearts 0, Motherwell 0.
Yeah, you know, you're right about that right foot switch of play. He was winding it up. He was hoping it would go the distance, but unfortunately fell short.
The bouncing ball in the midfield. Grant tried to get there. Slattery does, and then gives it away to Snodgrass. Not a great idea. Grant fires one through for Ginnelly. Oh, the Hearts fans aren't happy with Josh Ginnelly, because Liam Kelly came outside the box to win it. Ginnelly had every chance, and he pretty much stopped. The Hearts fans don't like that one little bit.
I'll tell you what, I'm amazed he hasn't just ploughed on through, because if he nicks the ball and Liam Kelly makes any contact with him, Liam Kelly's off, or Ginnelly's in behind and possibly gets a tap into an empty net. But that's 2 or 3 times that Motherwell back four have been sliced open by passes, and they have to be careful. They've got to stay compact. You can't allow runners to go through you.
He had such a good chance there, Ginnelly, of getting something out of that. Could have been a free kick outside the area, could have been a penalty had he taken another couple of steps forward. He might just have been able to take the ball round Liam Kelly and score, but what he did was opt out completely of what was at least for him a 50-50. And well, you heard the reaction from round about us as he whipped out of that. The Hearts fans not impressed. Here goes Mackay down the other side, tries to turn away from O'Donnell. Inside he goes, good feet But a good bit of help from Slattery as well, as he went back to help out O'Donnell and get them out of any potential trouble there. The ball out underneath us for a Motherwell throw-in. It's 0-0 at Tynecastle, 28 minutes played. Stephen O'Donnell replacing Paul McGinn early on, and it is the Scotland international who's about to take the throw-in, and he finds Van Veen. Good quick control from him. Now Slattery down the line, Shields. Sibbick showing really good pace to come across, but then he didn't deal with it completely. Shields rolls it back, and Slattery with a cross into the middle, which was never going to bend back into play. It's gone behind Craig Gordon's goal.
Yeah, it was wasteful, and it's, you know, the first time really Connor Shields has had a chance to open his legs and try and stretch the game in behind. He does well to, you know, recycle the ball and keep it alive. Took it off Sibbick, but Callum Slattery, he has to compose himself. He's got good midfield players beside him. Don't be trying to force the ball into an area when it's not on.
Lovely chest down from Shankland for Grant, who's been pretty impressive so far, and he's picked another really good pass to find Ginnelly. Penny missed it, inside for Snodgrass, on the spin Robert Snodgrass rolls it to Halliday, inside the box, alongside him Mackay, in with the outside of the right boot, headed away by Solholm Johansson. Snodgrass again, he's involved in everything. It's a lovely ball through from Mackay. Snodgrass stands it up, Lammy heads it away, O'Donnell knocks it down to Slattery. Motherwell look to hang on in there at the moment. At times in this first half they have been under serious pressure, and they will be delighted that the scoreline is still blank with nearly half an hour gone.
Yeah, Hearts are just missing that little final touch. Everything up to the edge of the 18-yard box is good. It's just that final bit of quality to finish off the good moves.
Motherwell work it up to Van Veen. Always a threat, no matter how the game is panning out. He can change things in a flash, Kevin Van Veen. The ball is fired into the middle for Blair Spittle. Back with Lammy, and angled to Shields in the box. Lofts it in. Well, he could have had a look and seen that Kevin Van Veen wasn't nearly there, and it was an unchallenged clearance for Sibbick. Motherwell looking to get themselves involved in the game in an attacking sense. It's been all about defending for them of late, but they're getting a bit of possession of the ball here, and it's Goss on the halfway line with Lammy alongside. It's rolled into the feet of Spittle, McKinstry, Solholm Johansson, and O'Donnell on the halfway line. Just happy to get touches of the ball, get some possession here, and have Hearts not in possession. Penny to the byline, in on the half volley. He tried to as he went on the overlap. Sibbick did enough in the way of pressure against him. Penny couldn't get his boot wrapped around the ball to get it into the middle. It's gone behind for a goal kick.
You know, he's probably been Motherwell's best player this season for me, Matt Penny, Rob, but today he looks a little bit nervous, and sometimes raw pace does that, and he knows that Ginnelly's got it. He's caught in between. Does he go tight? Does he drop off? And at the minute defensively he's not really doing anything, and that's the first time he's got forward as an attacking fullback when he normally spends a lot of his time in that half of the pitch. Lovely ball from Sibbick to Halliday. A ripple of applause around us. Now Snodgrass just prodded it to where he thought Shankland was, but he was on the move. So it's back with Motherwell now, and it's Slattery right hand side for Stephen Hamill's team. O'Donnell, Solholm Johansson, and across the back line to Lammy, and back with Liam Kelly. Just happy to take the sting out of the game at the moment, but O'Donnell plays a really awkward one back to Kelly. It's an up and under from the goalkeeper. In comes Cammy Devlin. Big chance this for Hearts. Kelly makes the save from Devlin, and on the follow-up he blazes it over the crossbar. First shot from him was a right footer, which the goalkeeper saved. It popped back out to him, and he didn't look too happy on the left foot, and it went over the top. Big chance again for Hearts to go in front, and it all stemmed from that back pass from O'Donnell. When you think about it now, it's a ridiculous pass back. Not only that, but there's so many Hearts players pressing in on top of Liam Kelly, chipping it back to him. He doesn't deal with it at all, puts it straight up into the air. Then Motherwell are struggling. They're really all over the place, but you know, that's probably as good an opportunity as Hearts have had in this half. Cammy Devlin, you know, isn't a traditional goal scorer, doesn't get a lot of goals, and maybe that's why, but Motherwell big let off. Down has gone Slattery for Motherwell. It's going to be a free kick for them out on this right-hand side. Motherwell have got to be delighted at the moment that the game is poised in the way it is at 0-0 with 12 minutes to go to half-time.
And Hearts, on the other side of that coin, will be pretty frustrated and maybe worried that a sucker punch is coming their way, because they've had so much of this first half, so many opportunities to go in front in the game in terms of the areas they've got into, but it remains goalless. There is a VAR check going on at the moment. Either that or Kevin Clancy just likes the feeling of his finger in his left ear. But no, the check has been made. Goss with the free kick for Motherwell. Back post, a free header for Ricky Lamy. It's taken a deflection, could have gone anywhere from after his header, could have flashed into the back of the net. It's gone behind for a corner kick, and there was nobody in maroon near him.
That's been Hearts' Achilles heel. We've spoken about it often enough, Rob. We've watched enough of the games in Europe this year. Straight balls into their box. No one takes responsibility. They don't have a presence of someone to go and head the ball. I think Lamy actually headed it off one of the Hearts players when it was easier to put it back across the face of goal, where there was 2 or 3 Motherwell players waiting to tap it in. That's their best opportunity.
Corner kick, Motherwell, left-hand side. Blair Spittle, right-footed, in swinging. Headed away by Cochrane. It's dropping, though, at the feet of Kevin Van Veen on the right side of the penalty box. George Grant gets a challenge in and just knocks the ball behind. It's going to be 2 quick-fire corners for Motherwell. They'll be delighted to be up the pitch because they've been hemmed in for a lot of this first half, doing a lot of defending and blocking and trying to stop Hearts going in front, and I guess getting what the home team reckon they deserve on the basis of the play so far. But it could all change. The complexion can very quickly change. Goss, corner kick, arrowed in, back post. Another header from Cochrane, doing well. He's not the tallest, but he gets into some good areas, and he's just glanced that one away out of the immediate danger zone.
I just noticed, they went zonal. You know, we've watched them often enough, and it's been man for man. Quite clearly that hasn't worked, and the number of goals they've conceded, Robbie's decided to change it.
In comes a cross ball from Spittle, left-hand side, and it's another chance for Motherwell to go in front, and it was Slattery just ghosting into the box, getting his head to it just about 6 yards out. Looked as if he must be scoring it, glanced wide of target.
He should have scored, Rob. He really should have. It was a great late run from midfield to get in there, but once again the vulnerability of balls into the box from wide areas. There's a nervousness about Hearts, there's a restlessness around the stadium. They know it.
Josh Ginnelly is cleaned out on the far side as he looked to get in behind. He was showing his pace down the touchline, but he was clattered into it. It was cynical, and it's a yellow card.
I think that's an understatement, cynical. You know, that wouldn't have been a miss yesterday at Murrayfield just along the road, that kind of tackle. Listen, he had no option, he was done for pace. It was a wonderful touch by Josh Ginnelly, but once again, little spells, he goes missing, he comes alive, he goes missing. He needs to be in the game more.
Consistency is a wonderful thing. Snodgrass to Devlin, and it's good play again from Grant, who just opens the play out. It was in a tightly clustered situation, and he just curled a pass to Cochrane, who had a bit more time to look up and plan a Hearts attack. And the latest Hearts attack, Smith and Grant combined, right-hand side, fired into Devlin, the step over, now looks to get it back from Shankland, sliding in Ricky Lamy, the ball goes behind for a corner kick. It was a nicely constructed move. It's not going to be the corner kick, it is going to be offside instead. But some of the build-up play from Hearts has been really good to watch, but what's glaring out at you is their inability to turn that into a goal.
Yeah, and you know, when that's the case, then you start to worry as a manager that, you know, Motherwell may have a little bit of quality. They may have a moment where suddenly you find yourself behind when you shouldn't be in the game. So it's all about being ruthless, finding that moment.
Down goes Slattery on the halfway. It's a red card. It's a red card for George Grant. His second of the season, sent off against Zurich in Europe. And he's been dismissed for this one as well. Well worth a look, that, right on the halfway line. Craig Gordon is booked for what he's had to say about it. He sprinted up to the halfway line to confront Kevin Clancy. Hearts are down to 10 men.
Well, what I would say about Craig Gordon, I'm not too sure his position is good to make a call on it. He's 50 yards away.
Yeah.
You know, naturally he's frustrated that the player's been sent off. Of course, you know, with all red cards, it goes to VAR, so they'll have a look. We don't have that luxury at the minute. However, it did seem a late tackle. George Grant is actually speaking to Solholm Johansson just about what he tried to do. So if he is off the ground and if it is round about the mid-shin area or below the knee, then it's clearly going to endanger the safety of an opponent. So that's all we can imagine it's for.
Well, he might have been booked, but he's still conducting a conversation, if that be the right phrase, with referee Kevin Clancy. George Grant is maintaining. He's still on the pitch. He hasn't gone yet. He is telling Kevin Clancy that he got a touch on the ball. So there will obviously be a VAR check. So it does appear as if there was contact on the ball.
Which is irrelevant to Rob, because if you win the ball and you follow through and catch someone below the knee, you're still endangering the safety of your opponent. I think that moved away a long time ago. Yeah, well, he's trotting. He was trotting down the tunnel, George Grant, but he's being told just to wait now at the mouth of the tunnel while this decision has been checked now, and the decision stands. It's a red card. George Grant is off. Hearts down to 10 men. Shields on the attack for Motherwell. The ball goes behind. Hearts were reckoning it was a goal kick. Didn't look like a goal kick, to be honest. It will be a corner kick for Motherwell. And Rob, there's a bit of frustration around us and around the supporters, but they can't see anything we haven't seen. No. So they can't make a judgment call on it. Yes, they're frustrated, but if officials have looked at it and it's gone high, then it has to be a red card. It's as simple as that. Could be a massive turning point in the match. Sean Goss fires in a corner kick from the right side for Motherwell. Skims off the head of Snodgrass, gone behind on the other side. Spittle will take it this time. 5 minutes to go in the first half, and it could be one hugely significant change in the way this game has gone so far. Could it be a double whammy? It will be if Motherwell go in front. In comes the Spittle corner kick. Reaching for the header was Solholm Johansson, and free kick goes Hearts' way, but they have to quickly regroup and reassemble and try to continue what they've been doing, but they'll have to do it a man down. And the second red card of the season for Grant. Well, this would be the ideal time for Motherwell to really go and twist a knife. 5 minutes to go before half-time. Go and get the goal, get yourself ahead. Because for long spells in the first 37, 38 minutes, they were outplayed. Hearts were so dynamic, they were better. However, it just changes the whole complex of it. And if it is a red card and he's went high, it's an area of the pitch that doesn't really matter, Rob. I don't get it sometimes. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how the game pans out from here. And it did seem only a matter of time before Hearts would go in front in the game as well. So you really weren't needing to be flying into any challenges. And of course, what that means now in terms of the Hearts formation is that Robert Snodgrass will have to move a bit deeper alongside Cammy Devlin. So he won't have that freedom to operate in and around the attacking areas so much for Hearts, because if he does, then they leave themselves short. And plus it means he's got to track back a bit more as well. Exactly. You're playing a two-man centre midfield as opposed to three. You've got to do a lot of running. Hearts 0, Motherwell 0. But it's 11 against 10. O'Donnell with a cross ball for Motherwell. Just put too much on it. The angle of it was decent enough. Spittle was coming in towards the back post, but just put a little bit too much on it, Stephen O'Donnell. But I think he can be forgiven at the moment for getting things slightly wrong, because he hasn't had too much game time of late. And he has looked a bit rusty. I have to say, that pass back to Liam Kelly, you wouldn't have passed it back to your goalkeeper like that. He put his team under pressure there as well. It's just about settling yourself down and putting the ball into an area. But the body language of Motherwell has changed completely. Their shoulders are back now. There's more of an aggressive approach. They feel as if now they're in the ascendancy, and it's all because of the red card. We'll hear what Craig Levine thought at half-time of the red card decision by Kevin Clancy. He'll probably be looking at it through maroon-tinted glasses, you would imagine, but we'll find out what he has to say about it shortly. It's a big moment in the match. It's a massive decision, and it could be a game-changing decision. McKinstry, good feet, good movement to the byline, fired in, cleared by Cochrane. Good play from the Motherwell man there. And of course Motherwell are hugely lifted by that red card decision. They had actually been they had a good few minutes of play on the back of lots of Hearts
pressure before the sending off, but the dismissal of Grant is not going to do them any harm, that's for sure. Goss to Lammy, and Matt Penny across on the left-hand side. They've done well to be resilient, Motherwell, so far in the game, and stop Hearts scoring. Now they've got that numerical advantage. Halliday to Devlin. You would imagine for Hearts just about getting to half-time now and having a rethink about how the second half's going to play out.
Totally, but Motherwell also have to be careful, because any tackle or any challenge that is mistimed, the Hearts fans are going to go crazy and try and put pressure on Clancy.
Great run from Paddy Mackay, angling it in the middle of the pitch, rolls it wide. Giannelli couldn't get the ball into the middle. It has gone behind off Penny for the corner kick. Well, that was a really good run, coming in off the left side and getting into a really good area. Mackay must have run about 50 yards with the ball.
Yeah, but he needs to do more of that, Rob. You know, some European games he hasn't been at his best. I think at times he's hid away from the responsibility of being Hearts' key player. This afternoon his team really need him.
Set piece chance for Hearts in the 45th minute. Snodgrass plays it in. Oh, and that looked like a chance. Close in. It's gone behind for the corner kick. It was Andy Halliday trying to get on the end of that, which he did, of course, in Dingwall last week with a header for Hearts' second goal against Ross County. But it's gone behind off a Motherwell man, and it's going to be take two on the corner kick. The first half coming to a close as Snodgrass plays it in from the corner kick. The looping header ends up in the back of the net. He had a chance earlier on, which he didn't take, but he's taken this one. Andy Halliday, who scored with his head last Sunday, and he's done same again. He was patting his head as he celebrated that one last weekend. He's doing exactly the same thing again. Doesn't score too often with his head, but when Andy Halliday headers come along, they're a bit like buses, 2 at a time, and 10-man Hearts go ahead against Motherwell inside stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Since when did Andy Halliday become Hearts' biggest threat from set plays? Because he had that chance just before. I tell you what, it's a wonderful header. It's just a loop on it. There's someone on the post for Motherwell. I think it's Callum Slattery. He doesn't go off the ground, or he thinks it's going over the crossbar, but you have to say, based on how the first half has went and the law of averages, Hearts have been a better team. They should have been ahead before they were. The dynamic changed because of the man sent off and George Grant, but you have to say they've got their just rewards. They deserve to be ahead, and Motherwell now, you've got a bit of work to do.
Andy Halliday's third goal of the season, and they've come in a cluster for him, and that's a massive moment for Hearts, who are licking their wounds really on the back of the red card, wondering where this game would go from here. And just when you were thinking Motherwell might inflict a double whammy with a goal before the interval, it is Hearts who've struck. And again, his celebration to the fans around us, he was just walking back towards the halfway line, throwing his arms out wide, patting his head and saying, look at me, suddenly I've become an aerial threat.
That's what I used to do when I scored, Rob. It was always a shock when I scored a header and I was a centre-half, but Andy Halliday's a left-back, a left-winger, left midfield player. Where else does he play? Everywhere. Tell you what, I think he's been terrific for Hearts this season.
Yeah.
You know, his versatility of being able to play about in different positions has helped his manager out immensely.
Snodgrass, Devlin, lovely play in the midfield. It's amazing how the balance shifts in a game, because Motherwell suddenly have a spring in their step off the back of the red card, but it's Hearts who are happy again. All the fans around us making plenty of noise and feeling much more optimistic now about the chances of their 10-man team getting what they want here, which is all 3 points.
Well, they've had previous, haven't they? You know, they played against Rangers here with 10 men. They played, was it Fiorentina? Fiorentina, they played against here with 10 men. So, not that you want to be doing that, but they've been in this position before. So it's all about managing the game and picking your moments of when you go forward or when you play safe. But certainly the pace of Mackay and Giannelli will pose problems in the counter-attack.
Just about finished first half. 1-0 Hearts. Lawrence Shanklin plays the ball inside looking for Giannelli. Wasn't a great pass. And now Motherwell look to counter, and the ball played up to Van Veen on the halfway line. The maroon shirts flooding back. The pass intended for Connor Shields, and well, he's just scored the opening goal of the game, and he covers all the way across that time from left back to the right side of the penalty box to get a challenge in on Shields as he was fancying a crack at goal. Corner kick's been given. Halliday wasn't happy with that decision, but what a bit of defending, what a player he has become for Hearts.
It was a shoulder to shoulder with Connor Shields. I think Andy Halliday thought it was a free kick, but this is a big moment. Can they defend this set play?
In comes the Spittle corner kick. Rookie Lamy trying to get his head on it, far post. It's gone behind again. It's gone off a Hearts head, according to Kevin Clancy. Every decision is being debated at the moment. It's that sort of game, and we're not yet finished in the first half. There will be one last chance here for Motherwell to try to get things levelled up. 1-0 down. Corner kick, right hand side. Sean Goss arrows it in again. It's a great delivery. It's cleared only as far as Penny, and that's a great block by Josh Giannelli, getting out almost on his hands and knees in front of the Motherwell left back to block that shot. Well, Kevin Clancy, I don't think is popular with either set of supporters, either set of players at the moment as he heads for the tunnel, because it was he who showed the red card to George Grant, which reduced Hearts to 10 men at a stage in which they had dominated the first half, and the only real surprise was that they hadn't turned a lot of entertaining football into an opening goal. That gave Motherwell encouragement. They had a good little spell, but it was the 10-man team who went in front as the first half came to a close, and it was that combination from Dingwall last weekend, the Robert Snodgrass corner kick and the Andy Halliday header. That time it was a flashing effort in off the underside of the bar. This time around, a looping one into the corner of the goal, and that has lifted the Hearts supporters big time here, because they know what all 3 points means this afternoon. If they can get the win, they will move on to 20 points, and that would only be 2 behind Aberdeen, and maybe more significantly for them, they would be ahead of Hibs on goal difference. Half-time at Tynecastle. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0.
Hearts versus Motherwell.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Just watching the pictures coming in there, Andy Halliday had a lengthy and very heated discussion with Kevin Clancy. Might have been in danger of almost overstepping the mark at one point, it seemed. Eventually Kevin Clancy managed to usher him away, only to discover that Robbie Nielsen was also waiting for him at the end of the tunnel. Now, I think it's probably got to be all about the George Grant sending off. Hopefully we'll see more replays being fed through, but I've got to say, for me, he's made the correct call. Craig Levine knows much more about these things. Have you seen sufficient replays to give you a verdict?
Yeah, I'd like to see it again, Richard. What I do believe is that it's an extremely late decision by Grant to actually try and make a tackle, because I can't remember, who's the Motherwell player that...
It was Slattery.
Yeah. So Slattery's taken a really poor
Really
touch.
bad touch, yeah.
And what's happened is that's enticed Grant to go and try and win the ball, because I didn't think he had any intention of trying to win the ball prior to that. So, and then he's gone in with he's had to go, he's caught by surprise, he's had to go in with some degree of force just to get there, some degree of speed just to get there. And I think he has caught him late, in all honesty. Yeah. And
I don't think
it's really difficult.
He doesn't make contact with the ball, I don't think, does he?
I don't think so. And I think he certainly makes contact with the player.
He does.
And with force. Yeah. Although I don't think it's any intention at all to hurt him. So I think it's a difficult one, but I wouldn't argue against it. I think Kevin Clancy's maybe made the right call. I just think it was a really unfortunate set of circumstances for Grant.
And it will, of course, have been looked at. I mean, the VAR will have looked at that, and they've seen nothing there to suggest that it was a clear and obvious error by the referee. We have, of course, seen just last week red cards can still be overturned when it comes to having been assessed initially, and VAR has had a look at it, but I'm not quite sure why it would have sparked. And on the assumption that is what Andy Halliday was discussing with, and it was very much a one-way discussion, it has to be said, with the referee at the end there.
Yeah, I think Andy also was disputing. He thought he'd been fouled at one of the corners right at the end of the half, So perhaps that was part of it as well. But he certainly looked a little bit irate, didn't he?
He did. But he was looking very happy just a few minutes earlier when he's... I mean, he could not... I know Stephen was saying that defender on the line, I think it was Slater on the line. He actually does jump, I think, but it is such a perfectly judged header by Andy Halliday.
It's right in the top corner. And Slattery does make an attempt to jump for it. Not a particularly good attempt,
no,
in all honesty, but I don't think he would have got there anyway. Such was the placement, and I don't think it was actually placed. I think Andy Halliday just tried to get his head on it and hoped for the best. But it was he just had the previous corner. He got first contact on that one as well, didn't he? So the threat was there, and obviously Motherwell didn't pay any attention to it, and he's managed to sort of somehow find the top corner of the net with a header from maybe 7 or 8 yards out.
1-0 for you've got to say well done to Hearts, having been reduced to 10 men to bounce back in. They were making chances early on there. We'll get to the sending off, or Craig will get to see the sending off again eventually, because they're running through the replays for tonight's sports scene, and it's all in timeline order, if you like, in terms of the incidents. There was a very early chance for Hearts. Actually, in the end, it was a very good save by Liam Kelly, Craig pointing out that it was on target when the ball was played in from Ginnelly, and Shankland was there in front of goal. He kind of flicked it up goalwards. Kelly getting a hand to knock it away. One or two other incidents, but we had hit a bit of a lull in the game until that sending off, and then the Andy Halliday goal, which has separated the sides. At the interval came in as we moved into the 45th minute there, the Snodgrass corner on the right. Halliday with a looping header, and it is a 1-0 advantage for Heart of Midlothian. Did you see enough? I know, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to play it again just now. He's taken a poor touch, and he's gone in with a fair bit of force, Grant, hasn't he? So I can see the referee's viewpoint. I'm not so sure that there was any intent whatsoever. It's just that the ball got away from Slattery, and Grant's made a split-second decision to go and challenge for it.
Honestly, I'm watching Craig Gordon. He, as the boys said in commentary there, he's come 50 yards up the halfway line, and he's as he gets the referee, he's given it the old hand signal showing he got the ball. But how on earth can Craig see?
Well, he's got really good eyesight, Richard.
Right, well, first and foremost, George Grant is between the ball and Craig Gordon. So he not only does he need very good eyesight, he needs X-ray vision to see through. Stephen.
Once he booked him, then Craig Gordon was pointing at the captain's armband as if to say, I'm allowed to do that, I'm the captain.
Yeah, I'm just watching that very thing. It's as if you're doing it.
You can't run 50 yards and tell the referee that he got a decision wrong you couldn't see. Plus you're captain, so you should know better. You think, come on. I think it was just the emotion of it all, because he knew they played so well and they weren't ahead in the game. And they're now starting to think, for that moment he's thinking, we could lose this. And then they all start pointing, they were talking about VAR, and have a look at it. Clearly, if it's as you guys have described, then there's 20,000 Hearts fans in here who maybe have an apology to make to Mr. Clancy because they weren't happy at all.
There's no chance that'll happen. We both know that. Look quickly to Brian then. One or two other things you've picked up on pitch side, Brian?
Yeah, it's actually a Hearts fan who's contacted me. He's watching the game, and he feels that the corner that was given that led to the goal from Andy Halliday should have actually been a goal kick. Now, I know that VAR doesn't intervene on whether it's a corner or not, but I know the Motherwell players felt a little bit aggrieved that the actual corner was given that led to the goal. I'm not sure if you guys have seen anything.
I can't believe that Stephen Craig and you didn't pick up on that.
Well, my eyesight's
that's the first. I never even crossed my mind. No,
I didn't see that either.
Wasn't aware of it.
I think Rob actually said in commentary it looked as if it came off Andy Halliday.
But that was from the first corner, wasn't it, Brian?
Yes, it was. And it looked
like
as if Andy, I don't know if it came off his chest or not, and then just drifted wide of the post. And Kevin Clancy, in fairness to him, he was only a few yards away, so he certainly had better eyesight than I had. But the Motherwell players felt a little bit aggrieved that another corner had been given,
right?
But they certainly didn't. They was more aggrieved when Hearts scored, of course.
Well, Craig Gordon apparently said from the other 18-yard box it was definitely a corner kick. He could see it from there. So Craig's right.
Look, full times from the English Premier League. Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1, Southampton 1, Newcastle United 4. They're up into third place as things stand. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2. Palace coming from behind to win that one. Earlier it was Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1, and it's Spurs against Liverpool to come. Well, you can see all the incidents tonight on Sports Scene. So that's at 7:15 on the BBC Scotland channel. And they will certainly be focusing on, well, the big talking points from that game at Tynecastle, one of which is the sending off of George Grant. Certainly we've had the goal now to bring you from Andy Halliday, which has given Hearts the advantage, 10-man Hearts the advantage in that one. Certainly Kevin Clancy coming under fire, it's fair to say. Just watching Slattery again there for the goal. He was about a yard off the line, wasn't he? But as you said, Craig, even if he'd been on the line, I'm not sure that he'd have been...
I mean, it was right in the top corner.
Aye, he'd have needed a telescopic neck.
I mean, it was Lammy that was was supposed to be marking Halliday. Yeah, and he's just lost him. I think Halliday's taken a step back the way, and the ball looped over Lammy's head, and he's met it perfectly. He couldn't have walked over and placed it any better than that. But it was, football's a strange game, Richard, isn't it? We sit here and Hearts get a man sent off, and you think, well, this is going to be difficult for them. Motherwell are now favourites to win the game, and then of course Halliday goes and scores a goal, and Hearts go in at half-time 1-0 up.
And it is clearly, it would be an excellent result for Hearts. They've had a lot to contend with in terms of the results that have gone against them, the goals that they have conceded over the course of the last couple of months, largely down to, or certainly partly down to what's been happening in Europe. But if they get that win this afternoon, they move on to 20 points, which would see them level on points with Hibernian, ahead of them on goal difference, and up in 4th place in the table. I mean, it's so congested in there, but given that that's them done with Europe, they don't have the demands of playing every midweek and having to do catch up on Sundays, and the fact they would still have a game in hand actually on one or two of the teams around them, that I actually see that as a fairly acceptable situation right now.
Oh, more than acceptable. Really considering the injury problems that they've had, the amount of games they've had to play because of the European qualification. And I think Robbie, if they get out of this game today with a victory, then Robbie will be absolutely ecstatic really about where his team are, knowing that he's got all of those sort of important players to come back from injury.
Richard, can I jump in? So we've got another dynamic to the we've got another dynamic to the red card, because there's a guy in front of us on his phone has it. Rob McLean is in having a chat with them and having a look at it, and 3 or 4 Hearts fans have turned around and said, yeah, it's probably a red. So they're now, having watched it, believing it's a red card. So it's right. Kevin Clancy has clearly got it right.
But yeah, did they use the words, I apologise to the referee?
No, but I'm sure we'll hear that resonating around the stadium when Kevin Clancy comes out.
Wouldn't that be brilliant if you had 10,000 fans around the stadium chanting, sorry?
It isn't going to happen.
Not highly unlikely.
Not going to happen. No, I mean, I just can't see how you can see anything other than just, if nothing else. Even, you know what? Even if he'd got the ball, he's out of control. The speed at which he hits the opposing player. You'd have got away with that, Craig. You wouldn't even have got booked for that challenge back in your day. But these days,
back in the day, but
totally.
I did say that after having looked at it again, that I thought he was correct in his decision, because he did catch the player, didn't get the ball. As I said, I don't think there was any intent whatsoever. No. It's just one of those momentary split-second decisions that you need to make on the field. He thought that the Motherwell player had lost control of the ball when there was an opportunity to win it, and he just really.
But it's an area of the pitch, Craig, isn't it? It's an area of the pitch where you think, do you need to make that kind of tackle?
Exactly.
Do you need to go in and be as aggressive as that, when all you might do is kick the ball out for a throw-in or knock it off someone? That's where you've just got to compose yourself, particularly now with VAR, with so many angles.
I don't think he was composed. I think he was caught by surprise, Stephen, that the ball had broken off Slattery, because it looked like Slattery was just going to take control of the ball, and he probably was ready to jockey or hold him up, and then he's lost control of it and made a poor touch, and there's something happened in his brain. Says, I'm going to win this. It's a split second, and he's gone in with too much force for me, and he hasn't got the ball, so the referee had no choice, in all honesty.
There was also the injury issue earlier on, of course, for McGinn, Paul McGinn having to go off in the 16th, 17th minute or thereabouts. Let's hope that he's okay, because it was just the way his it was, again, totally accidental. Robert Snodgrass falling into him as he's made the challenge, but it was kind of just the way the knee was bent.
And it was on the ground, you know.
Yeah,
it was
one of those that just
a bit
gives you
awkward indeed.
Shivers down the back of your spine as you see it. So let's hope it's nothing too serious for Paul. Over the piece, have Motherwell been good enough, Stephen?
No, Richard, miles away. Absolutely miles away. And that's not just because they haven't played well. It's because Hearts played so well. You know, this is the type of performance that you always expected coming to Tynecastle. Whether it was Craig's teams or John Robertson's teams or other teams that were here, you expected them to be in your face and be aggressive and force the game and pin you in, and the crowd were almost trying to suck the ball into the net. That's what you anticipated when you came to Tynecastle. But probably over the last kind of couple of months it hasn't been there because, you know, they've lost games, they've lost heavily, you know, the morale's been low, injuries have played a part. But today, you know, I'd said it ahead of the game that there's a better feel about the place. There's a better vibe about the supporters and the players. Even warm-up wise, when you watch, you can see them zinging the ball about and running about. They couldn't wait for this game to start because they're probably looking around the pitch thinking, he's playing, he's available, he's in good form, he's fresh. You know, so suddenly you start to believe and trust in what you're doing. And, you know, the first half an hour, Robert Snodgrass was absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
Just the positions he was taking up ahead of the midfield too, trying to suck the Motherwell defenders towards him where Shankland could get in behind, or Giannelli could get in behind, or even Barry Mackay and Andy Halliday at times. So Motherwell haven't been good because Hearts were better than them. Now there's a real challenge on them to go and force the issue, because when you're down to 10 men, you normally have to take the lead, I think, when you're a team who have a man less, and then the opposition come on to you and you can play in the counter-attack. And Hearts have two players in Josh Giannelli and Barry Mackay who can hurt Motherwell in the counter-attack if it works perfectly for them.
Well, the Motherwell players are back out, just about to be joined by the Hearts players. You can hear them indeed, the reception for the Hearts players as they return. And there's the reception for Kevin Clancy. So apart from the 4 fans in front of Rob, everyone else still believes it was the wrong decision, apparently, inside the stadium. You can see it all a little bit later on Sports Scene at 7:15. Hearts 1, Motherwell 0. Back to Stephen and Rob.
Cheers, Richard. I'd like to say that we were reviewing the big incident of the match on a bank of TV monitors in front of us, but actually we were looking over the shoulder of a fan a few rows in front, looking at it on his phone to see the severity of that challenge by George Grant, which got himself red carded by Kevin Clancy. Sports Scene will have a look. The Sports Scene microscope will be brought in later on to review that big decision in the game, which is very much in the balance. Hearts a goal up, Motherwell a man up, and can they make the most of that? Stephen Hamble's team in the second half, we shall see, underway. And Stuart McKinstry looking to make something happen immediately. Nice little touch around the corner from Slattery, looking for Van Veen, defended by Civic. And Hearts play it up towards Shankland, who loses out to Lamy. Nice little shimmy from McKinstry, who looks to link with Spittle down this left-hand side, but the ball had dribbled over the touchline, and it will be a Hearts throw-in just underneath us. Michael Smith will take it.
Yeah, Motherwell have to be better, Rob, no doubt about it. Stuart McKinstry showed little glimpses in the first half of what he's got. Blair Spittle showed little bits and pieces. Connor Shields not anywhere near enough, and Van Veen at times was anonymous. So they have to improve, but it's all about Hearts defending well and playing the counter-attack.
Giannelli on the ball, facing up to Penny. Gets a half yard and swings a really good ball in as well. Nobody anticipating it in the middle, nobody in the 6-yard box, and that was where the cross flashed through. But here come Hearts again! It's Andy Halliday again, and that is 4 goals in 4 games for Halliday. He hadn't scored a matter of days ago. He is on hot form. This time it's a rasping left footer from 15 yards, which flashes past Liam Kelly, and 10-man Hearts have a 2-goal lead.
Well, what a finish that is. The first one may have had a little bit of luck attached to him when he headed the ball and it looped in. That one was all about quality. It was all about the pace. The ball broke free. I think one of the Motherwell players had a poor touch, and it broke into the corner of the 18-yard box. Halliday straight onto it. The only thing in his mind was, can I get a shot off? The minute it left his foot, Liam Kelly went diving across to his left-hand side. But there is a possibility of an offside, is that they're talking about? But yeah, if not, what a finish.
Yeah, I think there is a VAR check ongoing, but that may be complete because Kevin Clancy doesn't have his finger in his ear. Underway, Motherwell get us restarted, and it is an Andy Halliday double. He is in dreamland at the moment. having scored in Dingwall last weekend, and of course in the European game prior to that deflected shot that went in. So he's gone from 0 to 4 in pretty quick time, Andy Halliday, and what a valuable player he has become in this Tynecastle team. He is so adaptable, and what you know you're going to get from him is 100% every time, wherever he's playing. McKinstry lofts one in, left side from Motherwell. It looked out of play. Well, has it finally been given as out of play? It looked like he was blatantly over the goal line when he hoisted that back in.
What I would say is it looked like it was out, but the referee's assistant wasn't in line with it. He was still 10 yards or even 5 yards away from the corner flag, so there's no way he can see from his angle whether the ball's out or not. I looked at it from ours, clearly it looked out, but and plus it took him 5 seconds to put his flag up, so it was a bemusing moment.
Sure, Craig Gordon would have been he would have been a good view of that one actually. He was 65 yards away from the big decision of the match so far, but that one was a good deal closer to him, and it was clear to everyone that ball was out before it was actually given as out. Anyway, goal kick. Craig Gordon thumps it downfield. Hearts 2-0 in front, well on their way here, but it is 11 against 10. Can Motherwell get the next goal in the game, if there is one, to bolster their belief that they can get something out of this? Down goes Ginnelly, and well, every decision is greeted with a roar either of approval or derision. It's that sort of game on the back of the sending off of George Grant.
This is the edge I always remember at Tynecastle Road. You know, the fans are on the edge of their seats. Stadium's perfect, pitch is good, it's a smashing game, and the fans really try and drive their team on. They question every decision.
And can I say that's another 2 goals to my Premiership weekend total as well. We're now on to 26 in 5.5 games, so it's been a high-scoring weekend in Scottish football's top flight. And while Hearts are in charge of this at 2-0, that situation could very quickly change, because if Motherwell were to score and the momentum shifts, they do have this one-man advantage. Stuart McKinstry running with the ball, left-hand side, jinking his way inside, looking for the chance of the shot at goal, chops back onto his left foot, and suddenly Robert Snodgrass was there to block from the youngster.
I thought he was going to let fly with his right foot, Rob, coming in the pitch. I think he slipped and he then tried to bring it back. He probably should have played it out to Matt Penny, but he looks in the mood in the second half. Stuart McKinstry, he's got a bit more room to play. He could be the go-to man for Motherwell. Yeah,
I think he's wishing he'd taken on with his right foot as well. Spittle now in possession for Motherwell, screaming at McKinstry to make himself available for a pass. Matt Penny's having a go at him as well, the on-loan Leeds player, getting it in the neck at the moment as the ball is back with Kelly and out to Solholm Johansson. He squares it to Ricky Lamy, and it is Spittle now crossing halfway, looking to roll a pass inside. It breaks back to him, Lucky off Devlin. Here he goes, Spittle now running up to the edge of the box, infield for Slattery. It just pinballed around for a moment before Michael Smith cleared, and Solholm Johansson cushions a header down towards Stephen O'Donnell into the middle of the pitch, and Sean Goss, his pass for McKinstry right in the middle of the pitch here, rolls it to Spittle, left side of the box, tries the shot, blocked by Michael Smith, goes behind for the corner. Motherwell trying their damnedest here to get a goal back.
Well, I think eventually Motherwell have came to life. You know, that second goal has sparked them into it. They're moving the ball quicker, they're dictating the game, which you would expect 11v10.
The corner kick is on the left-hand side. 6.5 second half minutes gone, and Kevin Clancy is wanting to have a little word with a cluster of players around Craig Gordon. Here comes the corner, Spittle with it, angles out to the edge of the area, chested down by Goss, didn't get the contact he was after, it was awkward, he couldn't get the shot away. Now the break is on for Lawrence Shanklin. Well, Liam Kelly was off his line, and we've seen Shanklin so many times scoring from long range, every opportunity there, couldn't hit the target from the halfway line. Had he done so, it was 3-0.
Well, certainly an audacious effort from Lawrence Shanklin, but he was spot on, Rob. He actually got too much on it. because Liam Kelly was actually running back towards his own goal because he knew the strike was coming. So he had no idea where the ball was at that point. All Shankland had to do was just make sure it got over the top of him. Too much on it, but again, showing it on the counter-attack, they're a threat.
Barry Mackay was down there for a moment for Hearts, but he's encouraged to get back to his feet by Kevin Van Veen, and he's back in position now. Mackay, 10-man Hearts 2, Motherwell 0, 53 minutes on the clock. Lamy plays it up to the feet of top scorer Van Veen, out to Goss, and played back inside towards Slattery. Good challenge, Alex Cochrane winning it for Hearts, and then it was Snodgrass onto Mackay, clipped back inside. Snodgrass tries to get there. Solom Johansson got a little bit lucky, but it is now with Snodgrass again, and Mackay wide left. Back with double goal scoring Halliday, Devlin, Sibic, and now Michael Smith at right back. In front of him, Josh Ginnelly. Smith gets it back. Ginnelly again looks to want the exchange with Shankland. He's in, Ginnelly tried to square it, broke back to him, shot blocked. And Slattery sliding to prevent the ball going behind for a corner kick. Big opportunity for Josh Ginnelly. Surely he should have been taking the shot on, but he tried to square it, came back to him anyway, and then his follow-up effort was blocked.
Well, he's caused Matt Penny all sorts of problems this afternoon. You know, he's going short, he knows he's got him for pace, so Penny doesn't want to come out of his defensive left-back slot because he knows he's going to go in there. So anytime he creeps forward, Ginnelly just spins in behind, but a real handful when he's in the mood, and he looks in the mood this afternoon.
It's just all about decision-making for him at times when he gets into those great areas. Here comes Halliday, who's, I wasn't sure I'd ever use this phrase, is on a hat-trick. Andy Halliday, having scored both the Hearts goals. That looping header from the Snodgrass corner kick, followed by a rifled left footer, which made it 2-0. Change coming from Motherwell, Brian.
Yeah, the minute that second goal went in, the Motherwell bench were told to go and warm up, and Louis Moult is coming on. The player he'll be replacing is number 29, Connor Shields.
And on the Louis Moult script is his first goal of his second spell with the club. Will it happen for him here? It's just a fifth subs appearance for him on loan from Burton Albion. Scored goals for fun, of course, in his first spell. Really popular figure with the Motherwell fans. Scored 50 goals, I think, in his first spell with the club. Can he be the man who gets them back into this game? You wouldn't really bet against it, knowing what Louis Moult has done in the past. And he's linking up here with Van Veen. Van Veen takes a shot on from about 30 yards out. There were options for him, which he's now wishing he'd taken, to maybe shift it wide to Spittle, but because the shot really lacked any sort of power to get it past Craig Gordon.
Ridiculous decision, I have to say. And it looks like now he's going to go and play as a number 10, or just playing behind Louis Moult. Out of possession, in possession, probably try and play as a second centre forward, but Blair Spittle's in a much better position rather than trying to shoot from 40 yards with your left foot. You have to make better decisions.
Slattery with a diagonal out to the left-hand side where Spittle is offside this time. Back had gone Ginnelly to track the run, but the flag went up in any case. Well, they've certainly got a bit of firepower now, Motherwell, with both Moult and Van Veen, both prolific goal scorers on the pitch, and McKinstry on the right side, Spittle on the left, Goss and Slattery the sitting midfield two. So that's the Motherwell formation.
I don't know why Van Veen, or why Stevie Hamill doesn't put Van Veen just up beside Louis Moult, try and pin them back, go man for man in midfield, because they need a goal.
Flicked up in the air by Van Veen. Cochrane is there to head it away in the centre circle with McKinstry. Back to Stephen O'Donnell. He rolls it in to the feet of Moult. Laid off to Slattery, fired inside for Van Veen. It's good build up this from Motherwell. Now Spittle, left-hand side, looking for the chance of the shot at goal. To Goss instead, wide with Matt Penny. And breathing down his neck, Ginnelly. Back to Goss, curling ball in, great delivery. Stephen Craigan loved that cross from Goss. The Hearts fans loved the clearance from Cochrane in the 6-yard box. Good defending.
Well, we're right behind it, Rob. It was in a delicious little area between defence and goalkeeper. Craig Gordon didn't know what to do, but Alex Cochrane, great defending with his right foot just to hook it away.
Well out of his penalty box to start things off for Motherwell at the back. Liam Kelly, O'Donnell to Van Veen. Good spell of possession this for Motherwell, but Van Veen, not for the first time in the last few minutes, takes a pretty bizarre decision to swing a long cross in from the right-hand side, which gave Louis Moult no chance at all. It was always right down the throat of Craig Gordon. They're just getting attuned, Motherwell, it seems, to their new shape and formation, and the fact they've got two strikers at the top end. Van Veen is capable of much better than he's shown in the last few minutes. Here come Hearts with Barry Mackay. Can they just manage the game at this point? It's really all they need to do, Hearts, with a 2-goal advantage. They don't want to be sitting in, but they just want to be getting on the ball and making it difficult for Motherwell, even with 10 men. Smith to Ginelli, right-hand side, infield for Snodgrass. Well, he's well capable of keeping the ball, Robert Snodgrass, but it's given away by Alex Cochrane. He's done a lot of good things in the game, it would have to be said. He's a really promising player, but that time he just lashed one left-footed down the pitch to no one in particular, and it bounced behind for a goal kick. 58.5 minutes, Hearts 2, Motherwell 0.
Yeah, Motherwell need to get it back to 2-1 as quick as they possibly can, and then try and, you know, bring a little bit of nervousness around this stadium, because as it stays at 2-0, the Hearts fans will cheer every throw in, every header, every tackle, but Motherwell need to make an impact.
Well, the ball spins infield, here's an opportunity, out came Craig Gordon, down went Louis Moult. It's a penalty for Motherwell.
And a second yellow card, surely, Rob.
Yeah.
Surely a second yellow card. That's an outfield player, that's a yellow card.
Well, the Motherwell players are now surrounding Kevin Clancy and saying, how can that possibly not be a booking for the Hearts keeper and skipper? Because if it is, he is heading down the tunnel following George Grant.
Well, it's not a straight red card because Craig Gordon goes for the ball, but he mistimes it and misses out. You know, if the ball drops in the middle of the pitch and a midfield player goes to make a tackle and the ball goes away and he fouls a boy, it's probably going to be a free kick and a yellow card. That's what makes me think that has to be a yellow card. But Kevin Clancy, for me, isn't going to give it. He's not going to give the yellow card, but certainly he's given the penalty.
Well, VAR will be casting its electronic eye over that incident. The ball just spun in to the penalty box, and suddenly Louis Moult was in on goal, got a touch on the ball. Craig Gordon was committed with a dive at his feet. Down went Moult, and it wasn't a tough decision for Kevin Clancy, who's got that finger back in his ear again. And well, Craig Gordon has his head in his hands as if he was expecting that decision to be reversed, but he's been told instead to go on his goal line and face this penalty kick. Well, he scored a half-century of goals in his first spell as a Motherwell player, and he's off and running again. Louis Moult sends Craig Gordon the wrong way, and Motherwell are very much back in this game as Sibic squares up to Moult. The goal celebration halted, and what is happening here? There's a yellow card being flashed at presumably Toby Sibic.
No, it's at Louis Moult, who I think initially when he picked the ball up had bundled into Alex Cochrane. He then came back out again and bumped into Toby Sibic, you know, who was trying to stop him, which seems strange. You can bump into someone and get a yellow card, yet you know, a goalkeeper doesn't get a second yellow card whenever the centre forward takes a ball around him and has an opportunity to tap the ball into an empty net. So Kevin Clancy, I have to say, has lost the plot in the last couple of minutes, but Rob, we've now got a game on.
Yeah. And where does this game go from here? The red card for George Grant, followed by Hearts going in front, Andy Halliday's looping header, then the second Halliday goal, early second half, putting the Tynecastle team in a really strong position, but obviously still a man down. And now the penalty given for Craig Gordon's trip on Louis Moult, and Moult is off and running again. You'd have to say, in among all the screaming and shouting and moaning and surrounding of Kevin Clancy, that was a really well taken penalty, and what you expect him to do, really, and what's taken him a little while to do so far in his second spell at Hearts. Brian, you've had a look at the reruns.
Yeah, it doesn't look as if Craig Gordon got a touch on the ball, but certainly he was attempting to get the ball, but he definitely caught the player without any doubt at all, and I think the penalty was the right call.
Yeah.
So you think on Brian's description of that, you know, it's still a yellow card, isn't it?
It's got, yeah.
You know,
it's not a red. It's obviously not red.
No,
it's not a red card because he's going for the ball.
Clearly not.
But one would have thought that should have been a second yellow.
Reckless.
Ball ball fired forward by Goss. Back from Van Veen, left-hand side for Motherwell on the attack. Having got a goal back, now they want another one, and that will level things if they can, and that will then make them think they can get all 3 points out of this against the Hearts team, who could well be tiring, of course, on the back of that European game Thursday night, plus the fact they've played so long with 10 men. Goss angles a ball in, it's Kevin Van Veen, what a finish! He's offside, it's not going to count for Motherwell's number 9. He grabs the corner flag, pulls it out of the ground, slams it on the grass in disappointment that goal is not going to count. It was a great bit of technique from him, it was a great finish, but as the ball was flashing in, up went the offside flag.
Well, I have to say, whether it stands or whether it doesn't, it was an absolutely incredible finish, wonderful technique. I have to say, my initial thought from the naked eye was, Rob, that he was offside.
Yeah.
He hadn't realised who was behind him. It edged ahead of the Hearts back line. But this game really has came to life.
It's a game that you just wouldn't want to be refereeing. there has been so much going on. And Kevin Clancy will need to lie down in the darkened room after this, you would imagine. It might be the VAR room, I'm not sure if that's a darkened room. There are too many monitors in there, possibly. But everything is getting a bit of a review, and that there is a review going on right now of that offside call against Kevin Van Veen. But whether it stands or, well, if it stands, it's one of the goals of the season, I guess, because it was such a terrific bit of technique, such a difficult thing to do, swung in by Goss and crashed past Craig Gordon, and at that point you were thinking all square until the flag went up. These things don't happen quickly, as you know. What you reckon might take 30 or 45 seconds seems to be taking 5 or 6 minutes as they shuttle the pictures back and forth, and the decision is going to stand after all that. Offside, 2-1 Hearts.
Yeah, I think the delay is because clearly the VAR are putting the lines on the screen. They're trying to work out who's offside or who's the last defender. But yeah, as I say, my first impression was he was offside. He had went too early behind the Hearts back line.
It's been the game with just about everything. 65 minutes on the clock. We've still got 25 more of this. 2-1 Hearts, 10 men against 11. Snodgrass to Mackay. Lovely flick, Barry Mackay. Back to Snodgrass, heading for the corner flag. Left-hand side. Down he goes under the challenge of Solholm Johansson, and back up again. And it's a throw-in for O'Donnell close to the corner flag, far side.
Remember early in the game you said, well, you've given this, you know, you put the
muckers on it.
The curse on it, because you said, no, there'll be goals. Yeah. And I said it would be a classic. Well,
yeah.
Hey, we've both been right, Rob. Who ever doubted us? Who would doubt us?
Well, absolutely. We were a trifle concerned at 0-0, but it's all changed pretty dramatically since then. 3 goals and a red card, and the promise of more to come. Maybe more of both, who knows? In the centre circle, Sean Goss for Motherwell. Lovely angled ball out wide from McKinstry. In from Stuart McKinstry, missed by Cochrane, cleared by Michael Smith, but he just fired it straight back across the edge of the penalty box, which couldn't have been the plan. In goes Mackay, backtracking, trying to do some defending, but Motherwell have it. McKinstry's cross ball comes off Devlin and goes behind for the corner kick, and that gets the Motherwell fans over in that corner excited, because they will believe pretty strongly that their team are well capable of getting something out of this game. In comes the corner kick from Goss, headed away by Shankland at the near post. McKinstry stumbles on the ball, but he still gets it away. Lovely bit of skill from Goss, heading for the byline. He just overdid it in the end after a really good bit of football, got him into a really threatening position. Then he went for another one, and the ball was suddenly away from him and behind for the goal kick.
Do you know what? He's a lovely footballer. He really is, Sean Goss. He's got a terrific left foot, technically really good with the ball. His corner kick let him down. It was a really poor delivery. We've said it continually, Hearts aren't comfortable with balls coming into the box, so I think Sean Goss let them off the hook there, but certainly there's plenty of life left in this, with 67 minutes gone.
Well, it's been some day, hasn't it? St Johnstone 2, Rangers 1 earlier on in Perth. St Johnstone into the top half of the table, and Rangers staying where they were, which is 7 points adrift of Celtic. There'll be lots of talk off the back of that result from a Rangers point of view, from a Giovanni van Bronckhorst point of view, but certainly a terrific outcome for Callum Davidson and his team. That one finished 2-1, this one is 2-1. 10-man Hearts in front, and they have a free kick out on the left-hand side, midway inside the Motherwell half. Robert Snodgrass to take it. Can they reopen that 2-goal advantage? Up steps Snodgrass, swings the free kick in towards the back post. Inevitably, on the end of it was Andy Halliday, who was hoping he might just plant another header on the back of the net for a hat-trick, but not that time. He hobbles back. He's not moving too well, Andy Halliday, but that's quite commonplace for him. He carries knocks, he plays when he's not 100% fit. He just keeps on going, and he's been hugely effective and important for Hearts in this game, as he tends to be. Goss has the ball for Motherwell in the middle of the pitch. Alongside him is Spittle, and ahead of Blair Spittle is Matt Penny, on loan from Ipswich. Really good player. Goss again, played a pass down to the left side of the box, and he was caught by Shanklin. He was caught late there. It was fairly clear. I think that should have been a free kick. The ball slides behind for a goal kick, and I think Shanklin got away with one there.
Well, it must enter the referee's mind that every time he gives a foul against Hearts, this place is going to erupt. So maybe just to take a little bit of pressure off yourself, you maybe let 1 or 2 go, so you can try and compose yourself and let things settle down a bit. But certainly you're right. It looked as clear and obvious a free kick as you'll see.
Craig Gordon hammers a clearance down the pitch towards Shanklin. Ends up at the feet of Spittle. His crossfield ball cannons off Devlin and out. Wonderful to see Kai Rolls on the pitch. Maybe it's not the sort of circumstances in which you'd be bringing the Australian defender back, but it's hugely encouraging for him and for Hearts that he is on the bench. He is back in the squad again, as Lamy plays the long ball. It's an aimless ball from Motherwell, and it bounces harmlessly through to Craig Gordon. But it's good news. I had a chat with him before one of the European games recently. He missed all 6, of course, of the group games, Kai Rolls, and of course he needs games to get back in the Australian set-up for the World Cup, Craigs. Well,
he's not got many left, Rob. He's got Wednesday night and he's got next Saturday, hasn't he? And that's it for him. So, you know, you just wonder, is the decision made to leave him out or to take him now? But you think they'd be in conversation.
Great ball winning against Slattery from Snodgrass. Plays it inside to Shanklin, and back out wide with Barry Mackay. Back onto the right foot, jinking one way then the other. O'Donnell tries to block the cross, and he does well, Stephen O'Donnell. Good ball winning against Mackay, and in the end the ball goes out off the Hearts winger, and it is a Motherwell throw. Getting back to business, O'Donnell, adjusting to the pace of the game. Took a while coming off the bench, but that was impressive from him. Spittle plays one down the line, which doesn't find Penny, and the ball goes out underneath us for a Hearts throw-in. I'm sure the Hearts fans are looking at the big electronic clock in the corner, which tells us there are 20 minutes to go, because it's that combination, isn't it, of 10 players on the pitch, plus all the efforts and energy poured into Thursday night in Istanbul.
And I have to say, Motherwell have been a little bit sloppy in the last 5 or 10 minutes. You know, there have been a few loose passes, overhit, taking risks they don't need to take, so they need to smarten up.
Dangerous ball infield from Michael Smith, hands possession away. It's Kevin Van Veen with a shot from 30 yards. Might have tried to play in one of the players in front of him. Louis Moult and McKinstry were both available, took the shot on, didn't get it wide enough of Craig Gordon to be a threat.
Again, I just think it's a poor choice. 30 yards from goal. He's playing against a top-class international goalkeeper. It's going to take some incredible strike from there to put it in the back of the net. There's better options. It's not the Kevin Van Veen show.
Yeah, it's almost as if he hasn't seen Craig Gordon play before, trying shots from that sort of distance. Long ball downfield for Moult, and Alex Cochran does really well again defensively for Hearts. Just gets his body in the way, ushers the ball behind. It's not his top position, you would have to say, left centre back, but he's a player, isn't he? And he's going to get better and better.
He's 22 years of age, Rob. You know, he's in his 2nd season at Hearts. He's got plenty of experience. I didn't see him being a centre half, I don't think. Height-wise, I thought he would have struggled, but he's, you know, uses his body well. He's a good reader of the game. He puts himself in good positions, so he doesn't end up sometimes having to go and challenge early, because he's a good reader of the game.
He actually wins a few headers as well. He does pretty well for one who certainly doesn't dominate. He's not got great presence. That's going to be a booking for Toby Sibbick, who lost the ball in the midfield. Spittle got away from him. He then hacked down Motherwell's number 7. So that's a booking for Sibbick and a free kick for Stephen Hamill's team. 2-1 down at Tynecastle, and we have 72.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, Hearts want to try and stop the game as much as they can. You know, they don't want Motherwell to be knocking the ball about freely and building attacks. They want to try and continually break up the play.
Not much angle here for Slattery on the free kicks, right in the middle of the pitch. What can Motherwell get out of this? They have to be throwing plenty at it, and they are. Slattery rolls one out wide for Spittle to play it in. It was good play from Josh Ginnelly. He read that well, he saw it coming, and he blocked the cross. And the ball goes out for a throw-in on halfway. Penny back to Kelly. Liam Kelly just lofts it in behind Sibbick. It's missed by the centre-back. Sean Goss is in. He goes down. He's looking for a penalty. It's not going to be given. It's offside. Instead, you just wondered there, prior to the flag, whether Sibbick had caught the legs of Goss, and there might be another penalty here from Motherwell.
I have to say it's chaos. Again, Sean Goss looked offside initially, but because of the laws or how the referees interpret it, or the officials, they have to let play go on. So it was clearly offside. That's what it looked like initially from the long ball. But then, you're right, there was a possible foul, but it wouldn't have mattered because the flag was up.
Hope you're following this. 74 minutes gone. 10-man Hearts 2, Motherwell 1. Ball played up to Shanklin. Does really well against Penny. Cuts inside. Then Goss intercepts. And the ball goes back to the Motherwell keeper, Liam Kelly, who can't wait to get the ball back into play and up the pitch in search of an equaliser. There were 2 down until Louis Moult scored from the spot. The first goal of his second spell with the club. I wonder if he'll go on a scoring run now. He's that sort of player. Lovely ball from Penny out wide right to McKinstry. Curled in by him to Louis Moult. Takes a touch. The ball flew up in the air. He was looking down for the right foot hook shot. It was blocked by Sibbick. Motherwell are claiming it was blocked by his arm. The ball's gone behind. It's a corner kick at the moment.
It's a great ball in from Stuart McKinstry. The one time Alex Cochrane can't get a touch on it. Louis Moult's touch took the ball way up in the air. He had to wait for it to come down. Otherwise, that would have been a really good opportunity.
And Craggs was applauding that crossfield ball from Penny to McKinstry. Real quality on that, as was the ball in. And there is a VAR check, just for a change, because certainly Louis Moult was first, and he was joined by another couple of Motherwell players screaming towards Kevin Clancy for a handball. It was Sibbick who got in the way of that right foot hook shot from the Motherwell substitute. The check is complete. It will be a corner kick. Sean Goss plays it in. Shanklin's header near post, back into the mix for Motherwell. A scramble around the 6-yard box before a looping header from Solholm Johansson ends up in the gloves of Craig Gordon. Double switch coming up for the home team, Brian.
Yeah, it looks like goal-scoring hero Andy Halliday. His day may well be over. Lewis Nielsen will be one of the players coming on. Nat Atkinson, the other player coming on for Hearts. Just waiting to see, Rob, exactly who it will be. It will be Josh Ginnelly who's coming off. But yeah, Andy Halliday's been struggling actually. When he scored the second goal, he limped away from it. Now, I just wonder if pushing Lewis Nielsen on, and then they'll push Cochrane wide to the left-hand side at the back 4.
Yeah, he was the wounded warrior in Dingwall last week as well, Andy Halliday. He was injured and he played on, and eventually I think he had to be persuaded to come off. He made some heroic blocks in that game when he could barely move around the pitch. And he's probably in a similar sort of condition at the moment, but he's done what you do when you're playing at left back. He's just meandered into the middle of the pitch, so it's going to take him a little bit longer to come off, and the way he's walking, it's going to take a little while before he gets over to that touchline. Lewis Nielsen will be into the centre of the defence. Cochrane will be at left back, you would imagine, as Hearts reorganise themselves, and maybe significantly, Craggs, get some fresh legs on as well.
Yeah, we'll also get a presence of Lewis Nielsen, but you're right, just to try and even put another defender, because that's, Nathaniel Atkinson is traditionally a fullback, so playing just ahead of Michael Smith will give him a little bit more solidity. But I'm probably a bit more cynical about Andy Halliday. He just wanted to wait as long as he could so he could milk the applause as they went off the pitch.
Yeah, well, you're probably true. Yeah, he'll be gutted that he's not going to get a hat-trick now, Andy Halliday. But he has got the 2 goals, which have Hearts in front here. Mistake by Nielsen at the back. His first touch was not a good one. Kevin Van Veen was almost into something there. He might still be. Cuts inside, tries the shot. Good block, Michael Smith with the header away as he whipped in a shot there. Van Veen, you wondered immediately whether he would have a chance there right in on goal after the mistake by Nielsen, who got the ball snarled up under his boot. And suddenly it was in behind, and Van Veen had the opportunity, and he might do again here as the ball is played up to him with Molt alongside. It's a twin-pronged threat up front for Motherwell as they look to come back and get this game back to 2 each. They were 2 down, now 2-1. Here's Molt again to McKinstry, into the middle, what a chance! And there is the leveller, and it's Blair Spittle who stabs the ball in from just a couple of yards out. And from 2-0, Motherwell get it back to 2 goals each with only 11 minutes to go. Where's the game going to go from here, I wonder? It's 11 against 10 in Motherwell's favour, and they've got it back to 2-all.
Yeah, wonderful play, I've got to say. It's a great ball eventually by Stuart McKinstry into the box, and Blair Spittle, as any good wide player should do, you go in the pitch, you try and get in front of full-backs, you go between centre halves hoping the ball falls into that area. He doesn't stand out wide hoping the ball comes to him. He's proactive, he's on the move, he anticipates it coming into the area, catches all the Hearts defenders cold. And from a game where they were winning 2-0, they looked comfortable, the home fans were going noisy. Now all the momentum is with Motherwell. There's 11 minutes to go, plus you'd imagine 4 or 5 minutes of injury time on top of that. So from here in, Rob, you would think Motherwell are favourites.
Nielsen on the ball, clips it out wide, but he clips it over the head of Michael Smith. That's not good play from the young centre-back. It just puts Hearts under pressure, and it gives Motherwell the ball back. Well, that Premiership weekend goals update: 5 at Pittodrie on Friday night, 5 at Rugby Park, 6 at Celtic Park yesterday, 5 in Dingwall, 3 earlier in Perth, now 4 at Tynecastle. It's 28 top-flight goals across the weekend, and maybe more to come. Penny, left side of the box, and you expected a bit of quality from him. There were 4 in the middle, and he plays it in far too close to Craig Gordon. He grabs it. There were all sorts of targets to pick out.
Who said Scottish football is boring, Rob? Who says it's not worth a watch? It's been a terrific weekend of football, and I tell you, there's still plenty of life left in this game as yet. But Motherwell in the ascendancy, driving, aggressive. And do you know what? The introduction of Louis Molt, he's an infectious character. He's energetic. The fans like him as well, and his teammates like him. He's made a huge difference.
We're inside the last 10 minutes at Tynecastle. Hearts 2, Motherwell 2. Is there another twist in this tale? It would not be a surprise to see some more goal action. Barry Mackay steps in off the left-hand side, away from McKinstry. He's now in the centre circle. Lovely pass, and Devlin in between the lines. The ball deflected towards Atkinson. Well, the form he's been in the last few weeks, you wondered whether he might find the back of the net. Just flashed at it with his right boot, and it flies over the top.
Yeah, that's the first chance they've had for a while. And no surprise, Barry Mackay's involved. Like, you know, he had a game this afternoon, albeit down to 10 men. He needs to have more of an impact. He needs to go looking for the ball. He's got to travel up the pitch. He's got to take players out of the game, because he's certainly got the ability, but does he have the appetite for it at times? It always worries me a wee bit.
Nathaniel Atkinson, of course, scored that late goal in Istanbul on Thursday night to get Hearts on the score sheet. Scored that late goal at Rugby Park as well to rescue a point against Kilmarnock. And he is playing further forward. He's going to get himself into some attacking areas if Hearts can make something happen late on here, having been 2 in front and pegged back. Cochrane off and running and looking to get on the end of a pass from Mackay. Tries the quick ball into the middle. Back had gone McKinstry with him. That's what you want your wide right attacking player to do, is get back when he has to and do his defensive duties. It's out for a throw-in for Hearts, close to the corner flag, left-hand side. BBC Radio Scotland at Tynecastle. Hearts 2, Motherwell 2. 4 goals and a red card. And a fair bit for Sports Scene to cram in to their highlights version of this. 7:15 tonight, BBC Scotland channel. Well worth watching, as is St Johnstone 2, Rangers 1 from earlier. Good play from Cochrane. He gets a cross ball into the middle, and Atkinson was blocked off as he tried to get in. On the end of that, Penny doing the defending. Down the pitch, and Sibic just boots the ball out of play. Wasn't going to try anything fancy there, with Kevin Van Veen loitering at close quarters. Throw in from Motherwell, left-hand side. Matt Penny to take it. 83 minutes, Craigs.
I just think Lewis Nielsen has brought a wee bit of nervousness to the Hearts back line. You know, he had that poor touch, he kicked the ball out of play, and it's as if it's maybe affecting a few players round about him. But you know, I suppose the last 5 minutes, Hearts have showed a wee bit more ambition again since Motherwell went level. They've started pushing forward a bit.
Hearts were, of course, heading for a 4th spot in the Premiership when they were ahead in the game. Will it be a point? Would they settle for a point at this stage, or do they still think, Hearts, that with 10 men they can get maximum points? Well, free kick is given Hearts way on the halfway line. A yellow card is shown, and surely the advantage could have been played there for Cammy Devlin.
Yeah, I just think he's lost the plot a little bit, Kevin Clancy. I think he's had a tough game. There's been so much going on, because just prior to that, the ball came up to Louis Malt, and the ball came off his foot and touched his hand, which was by his side. No, that's not supposed to be a free kick, because you know the ball only travels a short distance. It hits himself. He then pulls it back for a foul when Cammy Devlin was in a better position to be attacking.
Foul by Stuart McKinstry on Alex Cochrane, and then Cochrane is screaming at Kevin Clancy, saying, "How's that not a yellow card?" Because he was the one booked, Stuart McKinstry, so he's asking for a second yellow card. Yeah. Yeah, there's a fair bit for Sports Scene to pour over tonight. We might have to apply for an extension to that programme. You'll see all the goals across the weekend, but with special emphasis on today's 2 games, in which St Johnstone got a long-awaited win against Rangers to go into the top half of the table. And here, well, who knows how this one's going to finish. Plenty time yet, with 5 minutes of regulation time to go. Plenty of time for this to change again. Corner kick, Hearts, right-hand side. It's Robert Snodgrass who doesn't get the delivery he was after, way beyond the penalty box. Shankland as well to keep it in, because it was curling, swerving behind. Little back heel from Devlin, and the clearance from Goss cannoned off Shankland there for a moment, but it ends up back in the gloves of Kelly. You'd love to be producing a moment of magic at this stage to win the game. You don't want to be the one who makes a mistake that hands victory to the opposition. And late on here, with players tiring, that's eminently possible. Crossfield ball from Goss is headed back by Cochrane to Craig Gordon, and so much that Alex Cochrane does in a game gets a ripple from the Hearts fans. They really like him, and you can understand why. The former Brighton player. Atkinson onto a loose ball in the middle for Hearts. Now Devlin to Mackay, left-hand side. Barry Mackay running at Stephen O'Donnell, into the middle for Shankland with his back to goal, rolls it back out, came off Devlin. Devlin was maybe moving in too quickly to the box, and it just bounced off him as Hearts looked to create the chance to potentially at this stage win the game. Back goes Sibic against Van Veen, and the ball is out for a Motherwell throw, and they will now turn their attentions, the Fir Parkers, to turning 1 point into 3 if they can. 86.5 minutes at Tynecastle. It's been quite a game, and it's a packed stadium, and nobody's going anywhere at this stage apart from the 2 in front. They've just gone. Why are they leaving? I'm going to go down and speak to them. Why are you leaving? It's 2-2. Slattery fires one through into the edge of the area. Back heel from Spittle, and a clearance from Sibic.
So even just to link up between Louis Malt and Kevin Van Veen, I know it's still in its infancy, but it's as if they are on the same level. They understand each other's game. There's been a few little moments where you think this could work long term.
Another great header from Cochrane, intercepting, getting Barry Mackay on the move, and he just overran it, Mackay, and that allowed Motherwell to get the ball away there. It was promising up to that point. Still in the balance this game with 3 minutes to go, but there will be a chunk of time to be added on the back of the 90 minutes, you feel sure. We've certainly lost a bit of time in the game through VAR checks, that's for sure. Time we're not going to get back. Here goes Cochrane down the left side for Hearts. Deflection on his way in. Oh, was that a handball? Yes, it was. Penalty given, and 10-man Hearts have the chance to win this.
It clearly hits his hand. You know, you talk about the unnatural position and where it is. It looked as if it was slightly out from his body. You know, it goes at some pace, it really does. Can he move his arm out of the way? Possibly. Is he expecting it in that area of the pitch? Probably not. However, you know, as we know with penalty kicks, we keep saying the same thing, it will be a VAR check, but on first thought you're thinking it's a clear handball and you think it's a penalty kick.
And it was that man, Alex Cochrane, with a lung-bursting run right at the end of the game. He's been incredible, and he's handed Hearts the chance here to win this with 90 seconds left of the 90 minutes. It's Lawrence Shankland who steps up and scores. Liam Kelly went to his left. The ball is tucked in the other side. It's a 12th goal of the season for Lawrence Shankland. It is successful penalty number 6 for him. And 10-man Hearts, barring another Motherwell comeback, have won this at Tynecastle. It's 3-2.
What a game we've had, Rob. Incredible drama, emotion, highs, lows. And, you know, the thing about the penalty, I think Solheim, if the ball's travelling 20 yards towards you, you have to move your hand out of the way. It was a wonderful penalty, as we expect from Lawrence Shankland, low into the Liam Kelly's right-hand corner, and this place has erupted again. They've gone quiet for 20 minutes. Motherwell were in the driving seat. They were the team forcing the issue, but what a comeback. This just shows the newfound spirit that Hearts have.
And Hearts, Brian, will look to spill a few seconds with a substitution.
Yeah, Barry Mackay is being replaced. A player coming on, Kai Royals. He hasn't played since the end of August in the 3-2 win here against St Johnstone's. Actually injured in that game that led to him being out for so long. So he's coming on for the last few minutes. Just had a look at the penalty incident again. Yeah, it definitely was a penalty. The arm of Solomon Johansson was certainly out, and it was certainly a penalty kick.
So on comes Kai Rolls. He will be absolutely delighted to get on the pitch, although he might have a job to do in the 5 minutes being added on. He's missed 14 games since being injured in that game Brian mentioned. He broke a bone in his foot. He's hoping to be part of the Socceroos at the World Cup, but his focus is very much on stopping Motherwell getting another goal here. In goes Cochrane with another great challenge. The Hearts fans are loving him. They're also loving Lawrence Shankland. That was the cry ringing around Tynecastle moments ago as Hearts number 9 made it a dozen goals for the season, scoring with another penalty. In comes the long throw from Motherwell, aimed at the near post. Snodgrass with header away. Shankland looking to complete the clearance. Motherwell going to be throwing everything at this late on to try and salvage something. They thought they were on the point of winning it when they got it back to 2-2. A throw into the middle is cut out by the sliding Devlin. Hearts looking to dig into their energy reserves late on here and protect their 3-2 advantage. Lamy fires one forward for Motherwell. Shot on the turn by Moult is blocked. Here comes Slattery now up to the edge of the box, deflected into the area, headed away by Michael Smith. In goes Spittle, in goes Atkinson, drops for Sean Goss! Great hit by Goss, and it's touched over the top by guess who? Craig Gordon. Well, we haven't been raving about him so much as usual, but we can do now because that is a stunning save.
It's a wonderful strike by Sean Goss, it really is, but Hearts just have to compose themselves. They're slashing at things, they're trying to hook things. They just need to make sure they defend it.
Corner kick, left-hand side, Spittle plays it in. Back post, headed clear by Rolls. Collected by Van Veen. Heading for the byline, Kevin Van Veen floats it in, missed by the goalkeeper, breaks back to Ricky Lamy. Great block. The maroon line in front of him, blocking that shot at goal from Lamy. It goes behind for the corner kick.
think Craig Gordon was appealing for a free kick on him. He felt as if Solheim Johansson had bumped into him, but they still haven't got the ball away yet.
What a game this has been. In from Spittle, the latest corner kick, a diving punch away by Craig Gordon. Touch to the side to Penny, hoping for a cracker goal. Alex Cochrane is the man who gets it away. He's been here, there and everywhere. He's been hugely impressive for Hearts. The 10-man team can see the finishing line now. There's a second ball on the pitch. That's the only thing we haven't had, I think, so far today, is 2 balls on the pitch at the same time. We have now, in fact, still on the pitch. Atkinson plays it forward, and it's going to bounce through to Liam Kelly, who's got to be in a hurry here to get the ball back down towards the other end. We're inside stoppage time, well into the 5 minutes being added on, and there will be one almighty roar around Tynecastle if the scoreline stays the same. They were 2-0 up, but they were playing with 10 men, as they've been for some considerable time. Motherwell clawed it back to 2 goals each. You thought then their momentum might carry them to the win, but it's been 10-man Hearts who've been brave, apart from anything else. But they still need to be watchful here, because Motherwell will look to carve out one late last chance to get something out of this game. It's a throw-in for Motherwell, close to the corner flag, right-hand side. Everyone is up for this bar Liam Kelly. Stephen O'Donnell with the long throw, headed away. The whistle goes for an infringement. There was a push inside the 6-yard box. That was the news the Hearts fans were waiting for, and they're almost there.
Well, they are. You have to say they've done it the hard way. They got themselves ahead. They were in the driving seat. And it shows the strength of character and the resilience that this squad has, that when it goes back to 2-2, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself, sink deep, try and soak up pressure, but they had the bravery and the courage to go and chase the winner. Motherwell will be furious. You know, they had the game exactly where they wanted it. 2-2, an extra man advantage in the ascendancy, but they didn't anticipate Hearts had this within them.
Well, I think the Hearts fans will accept Kevin Clancy's whistle anytime he chooses to blow it, as Craig Gordon thumps the ball downfield towards the scorer of goal number 5, Lawrence Shankland. O'Donnell plays it forward. You have to come up with something pretty sharpish, Motherwell. Snodgrass back to Craig Gordon again, he clears. Lawrence Shankland looking to get on the end of that long ball. The Hearts fans are tapping their watches all around the ground, waiting for the whistle. It's still not forthcoming. Motherwell are trying to get the ball in the box. Slattery, right-hand side, whips it in, chested down. Squared to Spittle, looks to get the shot away, rolls it wide instead. It's O'Donnell again, plays it back, in comes the cross ball, in goes Lammy. Well, it came off Ricky Lammy, might have come off a Hearts defender as well, but it ends up in the gloves of Craig Gordon, and you'll gather from that Tynecastle roar in the background, the final whistle has gone. Quite an incredible 90 minutes plus here, and Hearts move into 4th spot in the Premiership. They go above Hibs on goal difference. They're just a couple of points behind Aberdeen in 3rd, all on the back of a quite amazing game in which George Grant was sent off in the first half. It was 10 against 11 for Robbie Nielsen's team, but they didn't let that hinder them. Andy Halliday heading in from the Snodgrass corner kick, as he'd done in Dingwall last Sunday, for 1-0. Early second half, 2-0, left footer from Halliday, 4 goals in 4 games for him. Back came Motherwell. Louis Moult won a penalty and scored it for his first goal of his second spell with the club. Blair Spittle scored from close in, and you wondered at that point whether all the momentum was with Motherwell against the 10-man opposition, but it was Hearts who found something late on. It was a lung-bursting run from Cochrane. His cross was handballed, and Lawrence Shankland did what he tends to do from the penalty spot. He's done it 6 times already for Hearts from 12 yards out. He's also scored 6 from open play. His 12th goal of the season rattled into the bottom corner as Liam Kelly dived in the other direction. and 10-man Hearts had done it. Final score here, Hearts 3, Motherwell 2.